So far, it's been demonstrated how to create a VeraCrypt regular file that contains an encrypted version of a mountable partition. Plus, that encrypted file can also contain a hidden partition, which is another partition within the same file there. And depending on which password you give, it will mount either the outer or the inner partition. This works fairly well at creating these partitions and having the encrypted data, but also in the previous section, it was demonstrated how it's very easy to have secrets from those partitions leak outside of the partition, either because of user error, such as specifying a secret on the command line and then that being saved outside the partition, or sometimes the operating system or applications will save various activity and history information, such as the names of directories and files that the application has opened, mostly to make it easier to find them, again, for the future, and have various enhanced UI tools that can look at the stuff. But those are secrets that you may want to not leak. You can actually frequently gain a lot of information just by knowing the file names and directory names that were used within the encrypted partition. In this section, I'm going to demonstrate a way of circumventing pretty much that entire problem. And the method is to actually encrypt the entire system partition, so the bootable disk on the disk. That way, if an application or a user error, but for whatever reason the information leaks outside the partition, as long as we're not leaking it out across the network, that would be quite a problem. When it gets written into those history or activity files, they're actually going to go on to an encrypted disk block. One downside is every time you boot this thing, you are going to have to give a password so that it can actually then access the fairly strong key that will actually allow decryption, encryption of the disk blocks. Okay. For this demonstration, I'm going to need another password. So for this demonstration, not a great password here, but just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to have an eye catcher and then a 4-digit number, just as I did in the earlier sections. Coming on over to the virtual machine, we'll get started here. Okay, just as it's been left there before. We don't need the Cygwin terminal for this, so go on out of that. And you'll note here in the VeraCrypt application, you'll see there is no C drive. That's actually the system drive. As we actually do this, when we get finished with this, when we come up here, we are going to see the C drive, and we're going to see that it's encrypted. Okay, so we do create volume, but instead of doing this create encrypted file container, okay, or this would be used to encrypt things like USB drives, we're going to come down here and do the encrypt the system partition. Give it permission. Okay. So normal, there we go. Encrypt the Windows system partition. In this VM, it's a single boot. I don't have multi-boot. Okay, and I'm just going to take defaults here. Then we need to tell it the password. And this is going to be a password you would want to have fairly strong, and you'd want to have something you can memorize. We are going to create a rescue disk in case things go bad later, but the rescue disk is not going to work unless you know this password. Although this is not the password that the blocks will be encrypted and decrypted with, but this password will then allow the system to access that longer, stronger password. Okay, so and okay, now it's going to warn me that this is not a very strong password, but this is only for the demonstration. Okay, just as for the other encrypted file, moving the mouse around is generating some randomness. Okay, this is going to be the real key that it's generating right now from my mouse movements that it's actually going to encrypt and decrypt the disk blocks with. Normally you do this until this at least becomes yellow and quite likely this is important enough. You probably have this become green. For this demo, though, I can do the next even while it's still red. Okay. If I want, I could display it. Unfortunately, it doesn't show the whole thing, but I'll have later options if I really wanted to see those keys, what was generated there. It's going to create a rescue disk. This generally, you'd put this on a USB drive and you would keep this very safe, locked up in a safety deposit box or something. You would very well protect this. When I click next here, it's going to create a zip file. And that zip file is going to have the contents of what I need to put on the rescue disk. And it's actually going to verify that I have done that. I can't just skip through this. So I need to insert a USB drive at this point. I've already prepared an empty one and put it in the NAS. So all I have to do is come on over here and connect it. Okay. It's going to warn me that I'm taking that drive away from the NAS right now. Okay. And any moment here, it should find it. There it is. Okay. So under Documents, there's the NAS, which is actually good. Oh. Okay. The USB drive is right here. There's the USB drive, and right now it's empty. Okay. And then what we have here, I took the defaults of where to put it, and under Documents, I have this VeraCrypt Rescue. I'm going to right-click on that, and I'm going to tell it to extract the contents of that zip file to the USB drive. PC, oh, there it is, right there, to the E drive. Okay, extract. Now at this point, well, you see the EFI there. It's a pretty good indication this is a bootable drive. Ideally, I could eject that drive right now and tuck it away safe. But what I really need to do here, somewhat important, is I need to let VeraCrypt, actually I need to prove to VeraCrypt that I've done what it told me to do here. So with the drive still mounted in there, the USB drive, I'm going to click Next. And it verified that, yes, I have successfully created that rescue disk. Okay. So at this point, please remove it and store it in a safe place. Okay. So come over here. Let's eject it. Okay, it's safe to remove it. We'll come over to the VM. And I'm going to eject it from that VM. Okay, the VM no longer has access to that drive. And I would normally now pull it out and save it someplace very safe. Okay. Next. Okay. Wipe mode. If you're doing this on a brand new machine that you've just purchased, it's got a brand new hard drive, you probably use this none formatted. Otherwise, you're going to want to make sure that you get rid of the blocks. And there are some lab attacks where they could actually open up the disk drive and put it into special machines that can actually find data that has been written, blocks that have been written over a number of times. And so one way around that is you just simply write additional random data over the block multiple times until finally it's done it enough times that basically, even with some very sophisticated equipment, it's highly unlikely that you would get any of the old data. For this demonstration, I just do the none faster. And even then, that is going to take a while. So it's going to do this pretest here. Okay. And we've got this, and it's basically instructions for how to use the rescue disk. And if you can, you want to print a copy of this and keep it with the rescue disk. Now, with that rescue USB drive, you still need to know the password that you typed in there that then gives access to the password that was generated with the random mouse movements. Okay. And now it needs to restart my computer. Okay. we'll let it get going here. The system's coming back up now. And in this case, to access the boot drive, I now need to give the password so that I used to create this encrypted system partition. In this case here, for this demonstration, the password is 4 equal signs, the word secret with a capital S, 4 equal signs, and then 1374. Okay. And this PIN thing for now, we'll leave that empty. And now it's doing the authorization. Okay, success. It's now got the disk blocks and it has access to them, and it's going to continue on booting. Okay, all logged back in, have booted back up, all logged back in, and I'm going to start up the VeraCrypt app. Come on, go. There it is. Okay, now if we look here, we now see the C drive, system partition, but it's only 0% encrypted here. So this did come up fairly quickly here, but it's has actually not encrypted the blocks yet. Okay. And this warning message here is because I brought it up while it was actually up there already coming on up. Just let us stuck in. We'll close that one down, come on the one that was here. And now we're going to start a process here of actually encrypting those blocks. So I click encrypt. It's going to give me the instructions again for the rescue disk. If possible, you want to print that and keep it with the rescue disk. And then we've got this here. Oh, come on. You're going to see this mouse here with a little time lapse thing here. So it looks like you need to click encrypt. Unfortunately, it's non-responsive, doesn't show the progress here. But just be patient, and finally you are going to be able to come in and you're going to see it working. Okay, so for right now, I don't have to do anything, but be patient for a couple minutes here. As indicated, after a couple minutes, it was probably closer to 5 minutes, the mouse icon stopped having the little spinning weight wheel, and then now it actually shows the percentage of the drive that has been encrypted, its status. It's currently encrypting, and for this, which is, so recall this is a 40 gigabyte drive that this VM has, it's going to take it about a half an hour to do that. Okay, just about done encrypting the entire system partition. Just a few seconds left here, at least by the status display. But we will see very soon here. We're going to hit the same situation we had near the start here. We're going to get the little mouse here with the little spinning wheel thing. And this is actually going to last for a few minutes with no status update. Just something we have to be patient with here. So just be patient. Okay, after about 5 minutes of the mouse with the spinning indicator on it, and really no progress indicator of what percentage, but about 5 minutes of that, we finally come up with a message, confirmation that the VeraCrypt volume creation was, that system partition successfully encrypted. And we'll just come here, close this down, bring up the regular VeraCrypt application. And this time when we do it, we see again the C drive here, but no message here for that. It's only been partially encrypted. By coming and viewing the volume properties, down on the bottom here, encrypted portion, 100% fully encrypted. So that completes the demonstration of how to create an encrypted system partition.